let's start the meeting. Welcome everyone to our Finish Strong, Ask Your Burning Questions with your panel of experts. And so our panel tonight, and so you can't stand up, so you're gonna have to raise your hand and kind of wave, is Patty Farmer, and she's a marketing and media strategist. And we have Jody Royee, sales, mindset, and the internet. We have Joie Gharrity, branding and self-image. We have Ricelli Mordecai, confidence and communication. Can't beat those two C's. And Bobbie, Maloy, copywriting and messaging. So there's our panel. It's going to be fun tonight. We do have an announcement that I'm going to let Marion take over regarding the Woman of the Year voting. Take it away, Marion.
Okay, it's that time of year. September is an exciting time because we open nominations for the Woman of the Year, or as we call her, the Wody. So Jody has up on the pwnmonterey.org website, right at the very top of the page, the link where you can actually be taken to the form to fill that out. So you'll also see the criteria and the instructions on what to do. So I won't belabor that tonight, but get in there and vote. And you have until September 30th to go ahead and turn in your nomination. Okay.
Oh, that's great. Exciting. Thank you, Marion. And so hopefully we're still going to have that in person. We're just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen, but we're going full steam ahead to have that in person. We're going to have a really great local band called the Money Band, which everyone loves. And a lot of us are friends with him. So it's going to be great. And it's just we're going to bring our men and just kind of hoop it up that night. So it'll be good. It'll be December 1st.
And I'm even going to come to town.
Yes, you do. You got to come to town.
Me too.
Absolutely. That would
be there. I might get my butt down to the US.
There you go.
Be so fun. And it's all a write-off, girls. It's a write-off. Come and party and have a write-off. Yes, Marion.
Isn't it December 8th?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is it 8th now? Don't ask me.
And where is it again?
It's at Black Horse Bayonet, right?
Oh, okay.
What it's called, Christine?
I know where that is. Yeah. That's where we used to have lunch.
It's a beautiful ocean view. So it'd be a lot of fun. I want to thank our September sponsor, Stephanie Souza, and she is with Treehouse Mortgage Group. And tonight's raffle is what again, Christine?
Sorry, it's a $50 gift certificate to Epsilon, the Greek restaurant in Monterey.
Oh, yes.
You love Greek food?
In Old Town Monterey, beautiful little restaurant. Love to go there. Family owned, right? Yeah, I've been there a while.
Keeping it low.
Woo. And if you're out of town and when it will arrange for something closer to you,
so don't worry.
Get on into Monterey. So don't forget about Patty Farmer's six-figure think tank next Wednesday, the 8th at 1 p.m. Make sure you register. And the topic is going to be about collaboration, correct?
Yes.
That is one of Ricelli's favorite words. So hopefully you can be there, Ricelli. So it's going to be like Heidi would say, pretty juicy. So also a big thank you to Eileen Groves with Bookkeeping Central. She's been doing PWN bookkeeping for nearly free all these years, and we really appreciate her. Couldn't keep it all together without her. Let me flip my page. Okay, we're also looking for some help. We need some help around here at PWN. We're looking for somebody to help post new member announcements, fun facts, some different things. So if you're interested in rubbing elbows with a lot of the members and having a good time and getting exposure for yourself and your business, put it in the chat. And we're looking for the posting person, communication. We're looking also for fundraising, and you don't have to be in the area to help run the fundraising committee. And that's under Christine Cristobal. And then we want help with the Woman of the Year event and organizing that. So put in the chat if you're interested and we'll get a hold of you. So we really want to get going on our questions to our panel. So I'm not going to have member introductions. If we do end up having time at the end, we'll go ahead and have our regular member introductions. But I thought let's get it down. Let's put it at the end and have some fun starting out and make sure we get that covered. So why don't you go ahead and put your name, your business, any links you want us to see in the chat, and we will all make sure that you guys copy your chat and save it. We'll let you know how to do that at the end if you're not sure how to do that. So Patty, you were going to, wait a minute first. I'm going to bring on Megan, and she's going to talk about who our new members are.
Thank you, Theresa. So my name is Megan Mertz. I am the PWN membership chair. And just to start off, we started our membership drive in the middle of January, and I kind of wanted to give you the final results and the numbers. So mid-January, since the membership drive, we received 9 new members. And then for the month of August, we had another 13 members join. So with the total of 22 members in a month and a half. So, and out of those 22, 15 were referred by a current member. So those 6 members who did refer get added to the virtual gift basket raffle, which will be announced at the very end. And on top of that, with the new members, I wanted to introduce them. We have Creighton Mendeville, one of our newest men joining from the group. He is from Legal Services for Seniors. We have Remley Peck with Coaching You for Change. We have Charlie King, I saw her on there, with CBD for Body and Soul. We have Elaine Copeland, Body, Mind, and Fitness. We have Jaron Peking with Legal Services for Seniors. Carmen Nazar, Catering by Carmen Nazar. Elizabeth Pelly with David Lynn Real Estate. Alicia Huck with Maverick and Company. Monica Hine with H2O at Home. We have Linda Lard Sazuski with Escape to Create Workshops. Tracy Root with Tracy Root Coaching and Events. Hi, Tracy. Jennifer Orizio with Soul Language. And we have Anna Campbell with Wink Naturals. So welcome new members. We're doing great, guys.
Wow.
Wow, all these new members to just to, rub elbows with and just learn from, collaborate with, and hopefully do some business with each other. So I'm really looking forward to getting to know each of you. Patty, would you like to go ahead and explain a little bit what the membership drive was all about and what's coming up on that? And then also you can go right into explaining the panel.
Sure. So I'm so excited. I haven't been with PWN for all that long. So the membership drive, this was really, really great that we did this membership drive. It was for all of August. That was when everybody got to join for $65 and renew no matter when your time was for $65 too. So that was really great. I made sure I put in my extra years ahead of time. So that was really great. But then what we did was we decided to have the virtual gift basket, and we asked for people to donate. And if you donated to the gift basket, you got 1 ticket in for a chance to win the virtual gift basket, which is valued at over $4,000. So give it up for everybody who did that. And so you have a chance to do it. And then anybody who invited someone to join and they did, you also got a ticket for that. So that was how we were doing that. And that's how tonight at the very end. So it's going to be exciting. We're going to find out just who won, because it only takes 1 ticket, right? To win that virtual gift basket. And then we also had a contest to see who was going to bring in the most amount of members. And then that person who did that got to be interviewed by me on my show. They get a $250 gift certificate at any restaurant or place they want to shop. They get to pick where they want. And they got to get that, which was pretty darn awesome. And they get to be spotlighted on the PWN homepage. So that's who did that. So we're going to find out who that is tonight as well. So so everybody was really great to interact this whole month, and I'm like super excited, and obviously it worked. The numbers are there, the value was there in the gift basket. So thank you for all the donors and all the people who referred people to PWN because it's the best, right? So thank you for that. So going right into the rules of engagement. So how it's going to work tonight is so that you guys can get your questions answered by the panel as much as you can. What we're going to do is, as Theresa already said, you guys put all your introductions into the chat, and we're going to have you guys all save the chat. So here's how it's going to work. If you have a question on how you could finish the year strong, this is all about how can you finish strong. It could be something about, you know, a project you're working on and you need help with a partner. It could be that you're trying to figure out how to do a promo on a new product that you might have. It might be that you want some input on holiday sales, how you could make more holiday sales, you know, whatever it is that we can help you with to finish the year strong. So here's how it's going to work. You're going to get 1 minute to ask your question, and the person on the panel who answers is going to get 2 minutes to answer it so that we can give everybody as much time. So what you're going to do is, when you're the person who's asking the question, say your name and what industry you're in. That should only take 1 or 2 words, not your elevator pitch, just what industry, so the person on panel knows what it is that you do so they can answer. If you're on the panel and you can't finish your answer, or maybe there's another person on the panel that would like to say something too so that we can serve them, and we only have 2 minutes, feel free, you don't have to, but feel free to be able to say, so say it was Beth, to say, you know what, Beth, I'd love to take this offline. I'd love to, you know, expand on the answer and stuff. Tell Beth that you would be willing to do that. And then it'll be Beth's responsibility to be accountable, to come to you to get that set up, not you to go find her responsibility to find you. Lastly, as an example, once the panel gives their answer, we're going to open the floor in this sense. If you have an answer for the person who has the question, because look at all the brain power in this room. If you have an answer to the question, we're going to invite you to give your answer in the chat. And I'm going to give you an example. So say, let me pick a name. So say Vicky asks a question and the panel answers. And the person on the panel says that a printer would be a great example, would be a great partner. Just say that's part of her answer. And you know a good printer. What you would type into the chat would be, you would say, Vicky, I can do an intro for you to a really great printer. And then it's her responsibility to contact you to give you her intro so you can do the intro. Does that make sense? So we're going to hold everybody accountable. Nobody on the panel is going to have to chase anybody down. But if you can serve somebody, you get to set yourself up and say that you can do the intro in the chat and that you can serve them. That's why we're all going to save the chat. So this way we can see, oh, who needed my help? Who do I need to get an intro to? Who do I need to make sure I set time with? Does everybody understand? Any questions about that?
I think we're good.
Got it? Awesome. Back to you, Theresa.
Okay, thank you. Jody, did you do your thing about kind of separating the panel out so they have access to
Looks
whatever?
like everybody is already. I did that already. Everybody's got.
Okay,
co-host
okay, so we're
ability.
ready to go, Patty.
We are ready to go. Perfect. Okay, so we know who the panel is, and Theresa said in the beginning what their area of expertise is. So what we want to do, remember, keep your question as close to a minute as you can, because the less amount of time you take to ask the question and be succinct, the more time the panel has to answer you and serve you, right? So who would like, by a show of hand in your reaction button down at the bottom, you can raise your hand by hitting that reaction button. So who would like to be our first person? Roxanne. Okay, Roxanne, unmute yourself and you have, introduce yourself, say what your industry is, and then ask your question.
Hi, ladies. My name is Roxanne Lynch. I live over here just above Washington State in beautiful British Columbia, Canada. I help women feel beautiful in the skin that they are in. I'm marketing one of the world's best tri-collagen, naturally sourced collagen matrices. The question I have is, when women really want to bridge to that next level, when they really want to grow, when it comes to live stream channels, like how can a woman really jump up past Facebook Lives or maybe past other social media platforms and really serve women when it comes to that live stream?
Oh, and you were very succinct. Thank you. I believe, but any panel that wants to jump in, but I believe Joey can actually talk to this, right, Joey?
Yeah, so live stream, I foresee that just like podcast became the golden ticket, that live stream will be the next golden ticket out there. And live stream there's platforms out there and they're working on this very unique technology where people will be able to swipe and buy e-commerce right there on the show. So why I love live stream so much is because it's a great way to spotlight other people. It's a great way to build your community out there. I mean, I got to know Roxanne. Roxanne's been on my show, right? Theresa's been on my show, etc. And it's a great way. It's the best business card to date, because I've even asked people in Hollywood that I used to work with to be on, and they said absolutely, because they've never been on a live stream yet. Really. And that opened up that door again around the communication piece. So think about building out your own shows, guys. And then remember, it really doubles as an amazing commercial, right? And in regards to spotlighting other women out there, there's not a bigger spotlight right now.
Awesome. Thank you, Joey. So if anybody else there has another answer, wants to add to that, please do it in the chat. Joey actually even kept under 2 minutes. Good job, Joey. Is there any other panel member who would like to add to that?
Yes.
Okay, jump in.
Since I'm a big believer in advertising, and I always advocate for advertising, there's a thing called OTT, over the top advertising, and that directly relates to the streaming platforms. The people are watching movies on all their devices, and the advertising that's OTT is 30-second spots that cannot be advanced. They can't be deleted. You can't push past them. You can literally target anybody's house. I mean, I could literally send advertising to Jeff Bezos. And he's going to see my ads. The cost right now is like $1,000 for 20,000 views. You can't get that with any other advertising platform. And that's one of the things we specialize in. So OTT, over the top advertising, check it out.
Awesome.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you, Jody. Okay, Susan, you have a question? Make sure you say your name and what industry are you in for everybody who might not know.
Hi, I'm Susan Clark. I'm a realtor with Carmel Realty Company. And after a very busy first part of the year, my real estate business has been slower this summer. And so I'm looking for ways to jumpstart the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Okay, and so you're looking for some ideas on how you can jumpstart the rest of the year for real estate? Is that the question?
Yes. So basically, it would mean reaching out and gathering clients who already don't know me.
Okay, panel, who has a suggestion?
I think that this is so specific because it relates to real estate and relates to marketing of real estate that I would actually say that the best qualified person to answer this question here is Christine, because she is the queen of real estate and she will know how to do that because it's very niche oriented and in exposure in marketing. So that's my 2 cents.
So just to be clear, I'm not talking about selling my listings or selling the product that I already have.
Mm-hmm. You're talking about marketing, correct?
Reach out and expanding my database and client base.
Oh, I can answer that.
Okay, I guess I wasn't clear.
Okay, no problem. Oh, okay, so you're talking about marketing. Okay, so what I'm going to say is the best opportunity that you can have to expand your reach is what I call OP, which stands for other people's people. So the best way that you're going to be able to do that, and you could finish your year strong, is what opportunities can I have where I can get in front of other people's people? So what you really want to be able to do is think about, okay, so you're not really talking about your real estate, you said, but who does serve those same people that you do? right? Or what project do you possibly have in mind that you could get in front of other people's people? I'll give you an example. A lot of times what people are doing is they're spending a lot of time in Facebook groups. And what they're doing is they're spending time in Facebook groups trying to meet the people by answering questions, right? Trying to get exposure that way, trying to give value, which is beautiful, but it's time consuming, right? So a way that you might be able to do it is to find some groups that the people in the groups are your people. And then you need to connect with the organizer of the group and have a conversation with her and talk about what opportunities could there be for you to cross promote or ways that you could work together, because then she'll endorse you in her group and she'll tell you who all the people are that you need to know. And it's going to cut your time, your learning curve and the time so much faster and get you right to the people that you need to know.
Thank you.
Does anybody else want to add to that?
I mean, yeah, I can add to that a little bit. And one of the things that I don't see a lot of realtors do is they don't, you know, their list building is like, here's my card. Can I have yours? Right. It should be pretty easy as a realtor to kind of put yourself together. It's almost like a checklist, right? Here's the top 7 things that I do to sell a home in a weekend or something like that. And make that your opt-in that you can give to people. So no matter what you do, wherever you are, you can say, hey, if you click on this link, here's, you know, you'll get this free checklist on how, you know, how I sell homes and that type of stuff. But that helps you to build your list as well. All right. So and you can do that. That can be your giveaway when you're talking to a bunch of these groups and stuff like that. So that helps as well.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Does anybody have any other things that they think that would help her? If you could put that in the chat, or if you have any introductions to somebody that may be able to help her, just put in the chat that you have an introduction for her, and then you guys could set up, because when you do an introduction, you want to make sure that you introduce them the way they want to be introduced, right? And that way you can get together and figure out how you're going to do that. So I love that. So who else has a question? Let me go to the next page. I don't see any hands up. Let's see. Oh, Vicky. So yes, you have a question, Vicky. How can we serve you? You're still muted though. Can we unmute Vicky so she can ask her question?
She has to unmute herself.
Oh, Vicky, can you unmute yourself, please?
Can you hear me now? How embarrassing.
Oh, you don't have to be embarrassed.
Sorry. Anyway, I'll go back. I'll be quick. I come from a real estate background, Susan, so I really appreciate your question. I was with Coldwell Banker for years, but then my husband and I co-founded a tech company, and I've recently been able to exit that and am now involved in nonprofit work. So my question is, I'm on the board of the Arts Center in Pacific Grove, and we are now developing venue use. We have people using the space. There's 10,000 square feet of galleries there. And unlike other venue uses where you're renting a space in a conference center, here you can have large, big open spaces, feel safe with COVID, lots of room. But I want to go back to the live stream conversation, because I think that's really valuable for many of the questions that we're asking today. So, you know, Joey, you were talking about live streaming events, and that works incredibly well because people do have the experience of others involved in that live stream versus just a WebEx or a, you know, I present, you listen. But how do you then take those events that you create in a live environment and you have all that enthusiasm? How do you take that and then transfer that to YouTube or other after show time channels, opportunities for those that did not actually see the event to see a recording, but it isn't really a recording now because it's a live stream. So it's more like a live concert.
Yeah.
So it's a little different than just making a video. You know, producing a video right now is a really basic thing that most of us can do. But taking a live event where you've got a lot of excitement and recording that, and I should stop talking now because I'm taking up too much time.
No,
but
I think
you probably know where I'm going with that.
But I think it's an excellent question, because I was just talking to a buddy who's an online influencer this morning, who's now jumped into the live stream event arena. And he really believes that this is going to be the wave of the future. Yes. What I want to just remind everyone is that the live component is exciting to people because you can pop comments in. You can, it's this interactive piece. And don't take this the wrong way, you all, but think about it like we're all going to be our own reality stars, right? And so it's a way of emotionally connecting with the marketplace out there. And then you can take it to the next level because you can use it as a long tail, right? So I take all of my lives, I'm tagging my featured guests, so I'm getting in their backyard. It's the same thing as Patty was suggesting in terms of the groups, right? But I'm doing this in seasons, and I'm taking the seasons and I'm pushing them out over and over and over again. And so that even if I did a show a year ago, I'm tagging that person, but every show is strategic. I've either identified a product that we're selling in it, or I'm using that particular show just for influence, and influence, you all, is sales. It's sales.
So how do you get those views? You're then translating it to YouTube, right? Because that's the free channel that we
I do Vimeo, YouTube, but y'all, I don't care about those platforms so much because I know I'm almost out of time, because just so you know, the YouTube has changed its algorithms because the YouTubers were getting pissed that they weren't getting the kind of membership they were getting before. So instead of that strategy, think about your strategy about how every channel, LinkedIn, right? Insta, whatever it is, Facebook, right? Think of them as channels. And so when I push it out, I'm pushing it out all at once, that same show across all of my channels, because I'm hitting different algorithms and different demographics.
Do you have a budget for that? Are you actually paying?
No, I'm tagging my guest.
Oh,
because between me and my guest, we're going to have some numbers together. Is that cool?
Okay.
Yeah, tag your guests.
Okay. That was a great answer, Joey. Thank you so much. Who else has a question? Let's see. Okay, you do know that if you guys don't ask questions and nobody raises their hand, we're going to pick people. Okay, Beth, thank you.
So I guess I should lower my hand first. So I do a couple of things. My main gig is I sell Medicare insurance plans, supplement plans. Oh. So I kind of pretty much have that dialed in because the carriers coming into open enrollment, the carriers advertise for us and stuff like that. But I also have a hobby, for lack of a better word, that I've never really talked about here. And that is I am a survivor of domestic violence. Not that that's my hobby. I realize that just sounds really strange, but I am creating a blog, and the blog is titled How I Found Myself Again, how I recovered from domestic violence and moved on with my life. And I want to start podcasting, and I know how to do the whole YouTube thing, and I understand that, but where do I start with a podcast? And how do I monetize this? I keep seeing all these ads that are coming my way about selling a course, and there's so much out there in terms of the processing of surviving toxic relationships, but I feel like I have a unique story. And I want to know where do I begin? How do I start a course to teach people to recover the way I did? And how do I market it? And what's the best? I have GarageBand to create a podcast. Where do I start with podcasting?
Okay, I'm going to jump in first, and then I'll hand it off to anybody else who wants it on the panel. So first of all, you got to know that a podcast has probably the lowest barrier of entry than anything else to do. It doesn't really cost anything to start it. Marketing is important. You want to make sure that you are marketing, but you have a story. And, just to let you know, I am also a survivor of domestic violence. So
many more, it's crazy.
Oh, so many. So when you're thinking about that, when you're thinking about that, it's really about creating a movement. Like that's where you really need to do. You need to create a movement. And think about the Me Too movement, how big that movement was, right? You know, so you want to create a movement. A podcast is great. I'm going to tell you, and monetizing it is great too. And especially if you attach some of the monetization to helping others that were in that situation too. People always want to get behind something where you're giving back as well. That'll help you to monetize it too. But I'm going to tell you, this one thing right here is so powerful. So here's what I want to say. I'm going to tell you that I would love to gift you like a whole hour of my time. We'll just take a whole consultation. I will walk you through that whole thing and show you how to set it up. I'd be more than happy to do that for you.
I appreciate that. Thanks. And can can I just say one more thing, totally off topic?
Absolutely.
Again, I don't want to dilute my brand and confuse people. I joined this group to sell Medicare Medicare insurance, but because
you're a person, not just a business, and people do business.
I actually have two jobs. So I have a full-time job selling home warranties. During the day, I sell home warranties and I work in the real estate industry. And I heard someone say something about how to question about how to increase your reach. So one of the things that I teach in my classes is that I teach agents how to do exactly how to build their business with online marketing. So if anybody wants me to give them a one-on-one coaching, I can do that. I don't want to take too much time here, but one little thing that I thought of is, you know, people who are getting a divorce are really, obvious targets for realtors, because you're going to sell their house and then they're going to maybe buy two more. But the question is, why do people get divorced? And there's a big movement right now called the gray divorce. More people over the age of 50 are getting divorced than ever before. So if you can latch on to anybody, this movement of how to cope with reinventing your life coaches, people who target that age group, that would be a great getting in front of other people's people or center of influence for realtors. Just saying.
Thank you.
Wanted to put that
Look
out.
at that. You asked a question and you served all in the same 2 minutes. Thank you so much, Beth.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bobbie had her hand up. Patty.
Who did?
Bobbie.
Oh, Bobbie, you have something to say? You're muted.
I don't think I did have anything to add to that. I can always talk, but I guess if somebody else actually has a question,
Sorry, I thought I saw a hand up in your corner.
No, that's it. That's all right.
She is the wizard of words. So who else has a raised hand? Let's see, that would have a question.
I'll raise mine. This is Charlie.
All right, Charlie, thank you. What's your question? Tell us your industry first, though, please.
Charlie King, my industry is CBD for body and soul. So I work with My Daily Choice and HempWorks, helping people find their choice on how to help with being healthy. So my question is back to the podcast a little bit. What is the best, I guess I want to say, software to start with? There's so many different ways out there that you can.
That's what I wanted to know. How do I do it?
Listen to how, there's so many different places that you can go out and listen to podcasts. Yeah. What's the best one to start to do a podcast?
Bobbie has her hand raised, but I just want to say briefly, you have some questions to ask yourself first on do you just want it to be audio? Do you want it to be video? Do you want it to be live? Do you want it to be pre-recorded? Do you want to edit it in post-production? So there's some questions you need to ask yourself there. So that's what I'm going to say to ask yourself. And Bobbie, I'm going to let you take that answer. Go for it.
When I started my podcast, I did it dirt cheap. I already had Zoom. Zoom did a recording. Zoom kicks out a video and audio. So you already have that part taken care of. You can do a Zoom call all by yourself if you're the only one on the podcast and record it, and you have that. All right. Super simple. You've already got that. As far as everything else with the editing, there's lots of different softwares that are out there. And there's different ways that you can get it on iTunes Radio and Spotify and all those types of places. There's probably way more better people to answer that specific type of the question, but just getting started, Zoom is what you need. And because it gives you both formats. Now, are there better formats? Absolutely. But that's a great way to get started. Get yourself a couple episodes, make sure it's something you still want to do after a couple of episodes, then go and decide if you want to upgrade and get better software. That's my 2 cents right there.
Thank you.
If you have I don't know what, depending upon what platform level you have of Zoom, it will also do your transcript too. So you have that for show notes as well. So you can really do it.
That's awesome. Thank you.
You could do it really,
have a
really
one-on-one
easy.
with you. I'm so excited.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Temi is another place that'll do transcripts. They're pretty inexpensive. It's like 10 cents a minute or something like that for transcripts. There's a lot of different places you can get.
Did someone say that Zoom does transcripts when you record it?
Depends on what level you have of. Depends upon what level. Like I get transcripts of everything. I know Carolyn gets transcripts.
I think I have the first professional level. Does that do transcripts?
Yeah.
And you get transcripts from that?
I don't know. I did not know that.
I tried to do that because Patty suggested it, but I had to go up to business and it was just way too expensive. Because I'm a signal practitioner, so yeah, I couldn't do that. But so I'd like to know, Bobbie, can you put on the chat where you're doing, who that is we go to for
and another one too, Bobbie, I think if you use otter.ai,
yep.
You can actually integrate that with your Zoom, but you can actually have it as an app, and it is the greatest thing ever because you can have it on your phone. And it is free. You can upgrade, I think, for like $9 if you want. And literally, I know people like to talk on their phone. I turn on my phone and Otter AI every time I get in the car when I'm by myself. And I just practice my presentations, talk about ideas. Sometimes you got to talk to an expert. I talk to myself. And when you're done, it emails you your whole conversation. And sometimes it could be 2 or 3 sentences that I just nailed it the way I said it. And those are the only 2 sentences that I do. But have you ever, talked out loud and then afterwards like, oh no, I love the way I said that. So as soon as I get in the car by myself, I turn that on and it doesn't cost anything. And I have it on all the time. So.
That's lots of great information. Thank you so much.
Can I offer one other little thing that?
Of course.
To share? I put it in the chat, but I took a class from a vocal coach once because I was really curious about kind of vocal confidence. I'm a speaker, all that stuff. And I always get compliments now about how good my sound is because I know how far to put my mic away from my mouth. I have a filter on it. And for podcasting, sound bouncing and echoes and all of that stuff is really important. So I put it in the chat. Her website is loudandclaire.com. She's like a voiceover actor and stuff. And I just really enjoyed the way she presented the content and it was really helpful to me. So I wanted to share.
Thank you so much, Tracy. We love resources. And always make sure too, if you're going to do your podcast, you really want to be wired and not wireless. You get a lot better quality if you're wired and not wireless.
Tracy and I are in another group together, so I know her well. And I am actually doing my Medicare meetings for open enrollment in her space Gather. So I just want to tell you that.
Awesome.
She has a meeting space in Santa Cruz.
Awesome. Carolyn, you have a question?
Actually, it's funny. I was talking to someone else in my area of nutrition, and she did a lot of her own podcasts and everything. And she had like carpets on her wall and like extra carpets on the carpet. And that's how she did it. She just said, you just need lots of texture to so it doesn't reverberate. But the other thing too, for those who, Tony, I know you were mentioning about the Zoom, and I use Working Live with Zoom, and that can be attached to another service that can actually code your Zooms. But I pay, I think it's let me think. I think it's about $20 a month.
$19.99. That's what I pay too. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So that's what I have the transcripts, the audio, I get a meeting advisor, I get everything.
You put that, Carolyn, can you put that in the chat?
Oh, okay. Through this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's through Working Live. And then what you can do, and I can actually, I'll pull the link over, I'll just grab it from the website. But
And
I
put it
can
in the
also-
chat. That would be great.
Yeah, and I can provide some other information that you can also get with the Working Live. Yeah.
Perfect. Oh, thank you, Carolyn. Who else has a question? How are we on time? Oh, we're doing great on time. Oh, I love it. Okay, who else has a question? Let's see. We have such a great panel. I know you.
I just want to jump in here about something, and that is to be thinking about the podcast world is most likely going to start heading into a video podcast situation, right? The nice thing about doing the video, I use Be Live, so I could put the link over there. It's Be Live. It's very sophisticated little studio you can use, and you can edit now in there. But what's great about it is that because it does separate it, you do have a very high level video piece that you can share. So you're able to repurpose it. So you have your podcast, you have a video, right? And so you have two pieces, and then the video component is where you can do more of the shout out e-commerce piece, right? Because you can do call to actions and share products and things like that. So just when you guys are putting your podcast together, just be thinking about the video component and giving it a lot of weight now.
And I think to add on to that too, every time you do something, you always want to look at how can I do it in a way that I can repurpose it to what Joey's saying, right? And if you do it in video, you can do so much more by breaking it down into little snippets. And there's a lot of tools for that as well, but it gives you the most opportunity to be able to repurpose it in so many ways. And that makes it so much easier for sure. So
I wanted
agree.
to add something to this because my first live on Facebook was done almost 7 years ago when Facebook Lives first came out, and that particular live hit over 50,000 views. And what was interesting about that particular live is that sometimes I feel like when we want to start, we want to be all elaborate. Let's do this, let's do that. But the truth is, if nobody watches it, then it's a waste of your time. If you're not engaging with your audience, it's a waste of your time. And like Joey was saying, if we look at lives and if we look at that as an opportunity to be the reality star of our own reality TV show, it's about connecting with people, right? And sharing something that will get people to talk to you. Now, after 6 years later, with the amount of lives that have come up and with the engagement that people have, the things that people are creating and a lot of content being out, what I've noticed is that when I do lives that are not related to the message that I want my prospect to buy, if you will, the next live that I do that I actually have a pitch, I get more engagement. Right. Mm-hmm. So often what you guys will see on my Facebook is that I do couch karaoke every Friday. And whoever is watching, I invite them on camera. And one of my corporate clients from Canada said, "This is the coolest thing ever. I didn't even know you could sing that badly." And I'm like, "Yes, I can. And we can do it together." And from that, I gained a contract for teaching and collaborating with her team because it was something that had nothing to do with my message, but personalized me. People don't want to be sold. People are tired of being pitched the same thing over and over again. This is what I do. This is what I do. I sell this. I sell that. So when you can be genuine about something and do it with the intention of connecting with your audience, the next thing that you do, the next thing that you post, you're going to have increased visibility to your material because the algorithm is going to read that you had engagement on the previous live or post. So that is just food for thought.
Yes, and I can add to that too. It's because the algorithm takes the average of your engagement. So one of the things you want to take into consideration is, you create content and you curate content. So if you have, for example, a special video you want out there or a blog you're going to put out there, something like when I'm going to be posting my magazine or something that's going to happen before that, for several days before, I do a lot of engagement things that don't have anything to do with business, so that I get a lot of engagement. I ask a lot of fill in the blank questions, things that are really, really easy for people to engage with. And that does affect the algorithm. So then when you do post something that is where you really do want engagement, you have actually kind of primed the pump, so to speak. So yes, that's absolutely true. So thank you so much for doing that. It looks like Tarni has a question. She put in there that she wasn't able to raise her hand for some reason. So Tarni, what is your question? And then we'll have Marian.
Yeah, I was wondering about Clubhouse. I had someone write to me the other day and say, hey, you on Clubhouse? Would you like to join? Blah, 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 blah. And I know nothing about Clubhouse, but I have heard about it. And people say it's fantastic, but it's another thing. So anybody have any experience with it, or any suggestions about it, or any comments around it?
Okay, so I know there's probably a lot of us, but I think, Jody, do you have something you want to say about that? First of all, let by show of hands, who's on Clubhouse? Let's just ask that first.
Okay, interesting.
Okay, good. So we know there's, so anybody who's on the panel.
So what I wanted to say, Patty.
Yes.
It's about research. It's not about the shiny new object going on, because if your people aren't on Clubhouse, then you don't want to be on Clubhouse.
Yeah, but what is Clubhouse?
It's just like another social media platform. It's just another platform that people are hanging out on. So you got to find out if your peeps are on there. And
so it's like doing Facebook Live or doing a YouTube. It's just another form of connecting with people.
Yes, it's another form of connecting with people. But again, if your people are not there, I received an invitation and my friends made it sound like it was the next shiny thing. You need to do this. And after a while, I'm like, who do I know that's actually here? And how am I going to connect with them? And you need to know your audience, right? Otherwise, you can spend so much energy doing a bunch of little things and not focusing on what really produces results for you. Right. For one of my businesses, the biggest engagement that I get is through Facebook. My old schoolers, the decision makers, the ones that are gonna be able to afford my services, they're on Facebook. And for the longest time, I thought that I had to compartmentalize my life and put the whole story of my life on LinkedIn. But guess what? They were not on LinkedIn because they are on Facebook to check on their friends and their friends' kids. And they only showed up on LinkedIn every now and then, because it was part of what people were saying they had to do. So you need to see where people are living right now. Where are people living right now? If they are living on Facebook, that's your platform. Put your energy over there and then have your methodology for conversion. If they are living on Instagram, and we have more qualified people here to share about this, but most people now are engaging and still living a lot on Facebook because that's the place where real people interact.
Thank you.
It really is about, to add to that, it really is about where your people are. I'm going to make this really, really easy for you, Tarni. Your people are not on Clubhouse.
Thank you. Thanks, Patty.
But the one thing about Clubhouse that's very interesting, you guys, is that it's about accessibility. Yes. So there are a lot of famous people or coaches or experts on there where you can have access to them now, right? Where you can ask questions with them. And so this is why Clubhouse is doing so well. It's because it's giving an access that Twitter just can't give you. The way that
influencers, right, Joey? Influencers, you have access to influencers.
You have access to influencers. So if you have someone that you've always really loved and you've been following them for a long time, and they could be on Clubhouse and you could have direct access to them free, right? And emotionally get to connect with them. But Clubhouse is really great for collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's great for collaboration because you get one or two of you on there, you leverage your influence, right? And your numbers. And, the last time I did the collaboration, I only do it with collaboration. The last time I did it, we marketed on Facebook, and we had people from Facebook coming over to Clubhouse because we marketed there, right? And we brought them over, right? So it's just, think about it. If you want to go in, jump in and just see if there's someone that you really have always wanted to just have access to, go check them out there and see.
Absolutely. And building community too. I think it's really good about community, and you do get in front of people that you might not ever.
Yes.
And you might just have that person that you just know would be the thing. And it's just so easy to find places to be, and you don't have to plan. You can just jump in. You're like, oh, my appointment canceled, and I all of a sudden have this amount of time, and you could do a whole lot in that amount of time than you could. So it is something that I think that, like you said, collaboration, community, it's a great place for that. So yes, great insights, Joey. So anybody, oh, Marion had a question, right? Marion, I think your hand was raised.
Yes. I'll also say about Clubhouse too, for those of you that don't like video, it's all about audio. So all audio, no video. So that's an advantage too. I don't really know how to ask this question, but I just wanted to comment that I think what Bobbie Maloy does is so absolutely key to getting the message out there in the written word. So whether it's through blogging, or whether it's through sales pages or opt-in pages. So Bobbie, I just wanted to ask you, if you could share a few words about all of this.
Oh, absolutely. Here's the deal with when it comes to writing anything on the web, okay? The way we speak and do sales is really easy, because you can change your pitch when somebody, when you're talking to somebody, if they don't get it or they ask a question. You can do all of that on the fly when you're in in-person sales. You can't do that in writing. You can't do that in an email or on your sales page or in any of these pseudo lives where you record the video and then post it, right? Because you don't get that interaction. So one of the best things that you can do when you are writing is to step back away from it for a moment and read your writing out loud, okay? We write like our English teachers told us to write, okay? So it's perfect sentences for some people. For some people, their grammar is really bad, and that's okay. But we write like we're trying to get an A in English. My English teacher would fail me for every piece of content I have written that has made millions of dollars, because I don't write for English. I write the way that I speak, the way that I think, because that's how people read, okay? So that's number one. Read your stuff out loud. If you're tripping over your own words when you're reading it out loud, go back and adjust your sentence. It's too difficult. It's too difficult to understand. It's too difficult for people to read. There are also two apps, well, they're websites. There are two websites that are the best that you can ever use for any kind of writing, and specifically when it comes to sales. The first one is hemingwayapp.com. I will put that in the chat when I'm done here, hemingwayapp.com. It will tell you the readability of what you just wrote, and it will point out all the different areas that you can adjust to make it simpler, so it brings your readability level down. The average US citizen only understands reading at an 8th grade level. I challenge everybody here to pick something off of their website or an email, put it into Hemingway app. And if you're not at that 8th grade reading level or below, I challenge you to adjust it, make some adjustments, and see if you get better results next time you send something out. Okay. The second most commonly used website by me in anything that I do is grammarly.com. Make sure, at least at a basic level, that your tenses are consistent. So you're not switching from past tense to present tense in your writing, and that you're using a couple of the correct words, instead of saying like, this is the best thing ever, or there you go, these are the best things ever, right? So Grammarly will help you put that together. So those two websites alone, it's hemingwayapp.com and grammarly.com. I highly recommend using those. Between those two apps and reading your writing out loud, will exponentially increase the value of your writing because it's easier to understand. So that's a great 30,000 foot view. I would be more than happy to talk to anybody about doing better writing so that you make better sales, because I believe your digital assets should be your number one salesperson, okay? Because they can go 24/7. So
those are great resources. So please do put them in there. And for those you don't know, if you're lucky enough to win that virtual gift basket, Bobbie did donate a 2-hour copy audit to audit your copy in that virtual gift basket. So, so that is awesome. Okay, so who else? I saw somebody else's. Who else had a hand up?
Joanne's raising her hand.
Okay, Joanne.
I just wanted to really agree with what Bobbie was saying in terms of reading everything out loud, because I found that really valuable for me when I was writing for the newspapers, and also writing to the, what was it, the 6th grade level, 8th grade level. And another aspect of reading it out loud is it gets to be more conversational and maybe telling stories. And it's the telling of the stories is what personalizes it and kind of sets you apart from everyone else. So reading it out loud, because there's a musical cadence almost, you know, to the writing. And so when you're reading it out loud, you can really capture that and make it individual, make it really your voice, and not just like writing a theme or something that your teacher would give you an F on, Bobbie.
Yeah, and it's actually, it's not sort of a cadence. There is always a cadence. The question is, are you using the right one for your audience? There's always.
And the other thing I found that is that reading it out loud was really helpful in terms of, especially with what I'm doing now. I have to translate it into understandable language, very abstract concepts sometimes, into understandable language. And so if you're in an industry that has its own vocabulary that isn't necessarily in plain English because it's kind of industry techno speech, reading it out loud helps you to translate your industry language into language that your clients can understand.
I love that, Joanne. Did you have a question of how we can serve you?
Well, I'm sorry I was late. Just increasing people to, you know, finding people who are ready and able to learn to meditate now, and also for doing that side gig about more writing. So Bobbie, if you have too much work, let me know.
Awesome. Yeah, that would be a great connection. Okay, let's see. Anybody else? Let's see. I keep going back and forth. Marion, do you have something to add?
Yeah, I have one more question for Bobbie. So I know how important titles are to get people to open things or to read things.
Oh yeah, she has a tool for that too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So I've heard of capitalize my title, but are there ones that you like better than that?
Swipe files. Just whatever catches your
other people.
Whatever catches your attention is going to capture, especially because most people tend to do business with people that are like them or were in the same situation. So get yourself a swipe file. If you don't have a swipe file or you don't know what a swipe file is, let me explain. This is anything that captures your attention and makes you take an action. Okay, that is the definition of copywriting, is I get you through writing to take an action. That could be to go to the next click. It could be to open the email. It could be for everything else. And start capturing what gets your attention. Okay, so now you have a whole list of things that you can go through and start to dissect. Why did this work for me? Why did this grab my attention? You'll start to notice patterns. I have 1,000 headlines that I have collected. I think I have 357 subject lines that I've collected just over the years. And I go through and I use a lot of that. 80% of your marketing budget of any kind really goes to that first headline, that subject line. Because if I can't get you to read past a headline, it doesn't matter how much I wrote and how beautiful it is. It's all about, I've got to get your attention. So that headline, I write 30 to 40 headlines and subject lines for any email that I write for my clients, because it's that important. Wow. Okay.
It's and to add to that, I do want to say swipe is good. I have a swipe file. Whenever you get all those things, I actually sign up for things just because I love to see what everyone does, right? And I put them in a swipe file. Do make sure that you don't plagiarize, right? So we will say that, a little warning there. But the other thing that is really good and where I get a lot of mine is, I publish a magazine, and a lot of the times the people who write for me, their articles are good. Their titles are not always the sexiest, most compelling to want to put on the cover of the magazine. And for me too, some of the best places that I get, if nothing else, I get inspired, is to just go to Amazon and look up best-selling books and in your industry, and you'd be amazed all those fabulous books that are bestsellers and stuff. You can just look at a title and just see how can you switch that title up and make it apply to your business. It's a great way to get a good title.
A fantastic exercise for getting better at this is to go to AOL.com. Okay. AOL.com, that front page has 51 news stories that you can scroll through, right? And all you're looking for is their subject line, because the news has become a master at grabbing your attention and drawing you into the story. So you go through the first one and it will give you, it'll be something, and see if you can take that title and adjust it to whatever it is that you have in your industry, whatever it is that you're trying to sell. You have 51 examples. Some of them will work, some of them won't, but you just keep scrolling through, and every day there are 50 new examples of catchy titles designed to draw you in. So AOL.com, the Drudge Report is another good one for that type of stuff. And I don't care what politics are. This is all about going out and finding a platform that gives you new and fresh titles and subject lines and headlines all the time. I go there a lot to get email subject lines, and sometimes it could be, did famous person over here, drink this ? Right? And that could be a subject line that comes in. There's all sorts of different ways that you can use that, but those are another great ideas for inspiration.
Thank you.
That is really good. Will you make sure you put those
Yes.
in I think too, that is fabulous. Thank you. Did that answer your question, Marion? Awesome. Does anybody else have anything? Oh, Vicki. We have Vicki raised her hand again. But you're muted. Unmute you.
Sorry, I was on mute again. Sorry. Is anyone doing in-person business prospecting of any kind? Meaning, is anyone having sales presentations, inviting guests to some kind of anything? Is anybody doing any of that, and how is that working? Versus
fabulous.
Yeah.
I think it's working fabulously. I feel like everything is not quite back to normal, but yeah, we meet. I kind of find that I think when Bobbie and I met last week, we were like, we hugging? I'm like, yep, no French kissing, but we can hug.
Are we hugging or are we jazz hands? And either way, I'll do it.
It's all good.
I'll throw something out then. If people are thinking, I'll throw something out. The Art Center is now a nonprofit member of PWN, and the galleries are available to you. So if you want to have any kind of, it doesn't have to be some enormous thing. I mean, if you just want to invite 10 or 15 clients and set up some cafe tables and, market products or do ask the expert, any of those kind of things, that's what the Art Center is there for. And we just need to get it on the calendar. So if anybody needs a space, let me know.
I know somebody. Gay needs a space. Right, Gay?
I was trying to make a list of different spaces. I was interested in the art center, but it's all upstairs. There's no elevator. That was the only thing. I did go to see it because I was looking at some other things in the area. I just saw that it didn't seem to have it wasn't very accessible.
No ADA. You're right about that. You have to walk upstairs.
Yeah, but other than that, it's a great area. I was definitely thinking about it. And then just wondering I was also interested in Pearlworks and wondering if that had opened. I did have a question though. Recently, I was speaking to someone and they talked about a coach that they had used. Her name is Lisa Sasevich, and her program for developing systems. And I was wondering what kind of coaches or systems people have used in order to get their business up. Or, I know Jeff Walker's out there. So what kind of coaches are people using?
I would say that I think what kind of coach somebody would use would depend upon what it is they want to achieve. Because it's kind of like when you go to a doctor, you may have a business coach that's like a general practitioner that you go for all your general stuff. And then you have specific doctors for specific things. And I think people hire coaches for those specific things. If you need help with your branding, rather than just hiring a business coach, you might want to hire a branding coach. Like I'm a certified business coach, but I only coach for marketing and media because that's what I do, marketing and media. I wear two hats. They kind of get a business coach as a two for one. But you would want to know that you want to hire somebody for specifically what the thing is that you want to do. So if somebody was like new in business and maybe they just wanted to get business foundation right, maybe they should just start with a business coach. But if you want to get to a specific goal, I would definitely say hire somebody who's there, who has achieved that, right? And can help you to get there. So hiring somebody who's like, you wouldn't hire a general practitioner if you found out you had cancer, right? You'd want to go to a cancer doctor. So, right, so you'd want to make sure that you go to a specialist. So I always say, go to a specialist for the thing that you want to do.
So I understand that. And I have used coaches at that level. I think my question is kind of the next step up, because there are coaches, there are business coaches there, and then there are a lot of times coaches that the coaches have gone to. So like I say, someone like Lisa Sasevich, who has a whole system that she uses, or someone like Jeff Walker, who does launching your product. I was wondering what I find that a lot of times coaches that I've used, they have gone to these coaches. So I'm trying to figure out, well, where does it all start? Who's the high level coaches that these people are used? Like Sasevich, she charges $20,000 for somebody to coach with her. Of course, I wouldn't coach with her, but there are these people that have systems, and I'm just trying to figure out who they are.
Gay, let me add this to what Patty said. My rule for coaching is find somebody who has what you want and hire them, copy their recipe, and get them to coach you at that, right? So it's again with what Patty has said. But for example, I don't care who is the coach of the coach of the coach. If that person doesn't have what I want in terms of methodology, or I'm not being able to be motivated or inspired by them, they are not the ones that I'm going to be working with. I coach a lot of companies that bring me in to help their team to feel empowered and increase their productivity by increasing their ability to gain agreement. I have worked with Theresa's team. I'm working with Christine's team right now. And I work with other companies that bring me in just for that part, right? And from that, I have individuals that say, I want to work with you outside of what my company is offering because I feel like I'm lacking productivity. I have a hard time communicating my message and getting people to agree with me. But because I'm also versed in one particular industry, a lot of people come to me for the basics of that industry. again, it's such a beautiful question, yet what I think goes in alignment with Patty, like I have hired Joie to help me in something that was very specific that made such a huge difference in my business, because she was the one who could coach me, because she had achieved that particular element of my business that I was looking for. Does that kind of help? Because I still know that you want to know who is the top of the top that has helped these people and has gone to the next level. And I think that it might not be the best direction to find a coach. My personal feedback.
I agree with that too. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, I have shared the stage and worked on specific things with Lisa Sasevich, but I didn't hire her as my coach. I just worked on something specific that she was doing around speaking at that time. And so I hired her for that. I literally $110,000 to hire Damon John. So, I mean, there's a lot of different levels. There's a lot of different things. It's all about what are they bringing to the table and what do I want to achieve? So all coaches, any good coach has at least one coach. I probably have at least two at a time. And sometimes I have three, depending upon what's happening in my business. So I think it's a hard question to answer exactly, but if you're looking for something specific, I'd love to have a conversation. I could probably help you, maybe guide you where you want to go. And it looks like Theresa wants to add to that too.
No, I have a question actually. So whenever you finish up.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to add to that. Did that help you?
Okay, then I will consider it talking to you, because I'm mostly interested in systems. So finding people, if you can't really hire the best coach if you don't know, I think, what's out there. And you can waste money going to anybody, but unless you know who's out there and what they are offering, and then who's the best, you kind of
I know somebody who is the best of the best in systems, if that's what you're looking for, and I'd be more than happy to do that introduction for you. That is what they do, and they actually teach a whole bunch of other people how to do it too.
Okay,
they're the go-to for systems.
Okay,
awesome. Okay, Theresa.
Wow, systems. That's the basis for all of the building blocks of your business are the systems and how you grow. So I have a question, and it pertains to our membership. You know, a lot of the members really enjoy the collaboration and the education that they get from members who are more long distance. For those people that may have brick and mortar or don't do so much online, how can they start to monetize those relationships within PWN?
Good question.
Panel. Anybody on the panel want to answer? Oh, that air's there.
Let me make sure that I understand your question. Then I might, as long as I, so you've got local members and obviously some of us that aren't local, right? And you're trying to figure out local people who are brick and mortar can monetize the relationship with some of us that may or may not be local, right?
Yes, and not so much local, but any member that may not have the kind of business that they do so much online. How can they produce more monetization from that? From their business?
Collaboration.
grow your influence.
Exactly.
Influence,
yes.
Do great on the ground.
Expand upon that?
Yeah, well, a lot of times the brick and mortar, it can get a little bit in the shadows, right? Because you get so caught. I mean, it's a lot to run a brick and mortar, but influence on the ground or online will always translate, right? And so by growing their influence, by building up the emotional connection, truth, but also too, how are they showing up in community, right? Because everyone wants to follow a leader and they're going to follow them right through their doors. I always tell people, it doesn't matter what you sell. You could sell, like, I remember one time I saw someone selling rain drops in a bottle. I was like, really? They were literally selling this. And I was like, wow, that is real influence, right? Because it doesn't matter what you sell, but it's about the emotional connection. And, our dearest friend, Gina Estrada, she was a perfect example of this, right? Because she was emotionally connecting, but she was also so integrated into her community. And that was translating into sales.
Yes.
And I think when people think, to add to that, when people think about influence, I mean, it's almost the very definition of influence and being an authority is, are you able to influence someone to make a decision, specifically a purchasing decision? And that all starts with building relationships. I mean, it's the first thing that you have to do. It's the building block of having influence, is building those relationships. So I feel that whether you have brick and mortar or whether you don't, the fact of the matter is you still have a community, and you need to be building relationships in that community and expanding from there. And then with all those other things that we talked about tonight, getting a podcast. I know a lot of people who have a brick and mortar business and they only serve local, and they have a podcast, and they have a lot of influence, right? Because, you know, PWN may be in California. We all know a lot of people in California, right? So I think that really influence, relationships. I always like to say, if you think about your business like it's an ATM, the question really is, are you making more deposits or more withdrawals? I mean, that's really what it's about, right? So that was a great answer, Joey.
And collaboration as well, because I mean, a brick and mortar has something physical to sell. Well, great. How can you make a connection with somebody and almost really integrate your business with theirs? So for anybody who has a course, maybe there's a company out there that sells, I mean, it could be print material. Okay. So every time the course goes, there's print material that goes with it. And you go, hey, this was from this person, right? So you can make that collaboration there, right? So there's lots of different ways for brick and mortars to collaborate and integrate their business with somebody else, right? So, you know, a dentist and a chiropractor is a great collaboration. You have to serve the same type of audience, and you can have this collaboration between you. Maybe you have business cards that are printed up with both of your logos that says, you know, hey, you know, you came in for a cleaning. How about you go over here for a free consultation on this type of thing? And so you can send people back and forth in those types of ways. How can you collaborate and integrate with everybody and anybody who serves the similar type of audience? There's a lot of ways to do that. But again, it doesn't matter whether it's brick and mortar or you're a mainly digital and online company. There's ways to integrate and promote and JV effectively with any business.
There is. And here's a perfect example, Theresa. So when I first moved here, I was referred by another client, and I'm working with the chiropractor for the Dallas Cowboys. We were not allowed to say Dallas Cowboys, though. We're only allowed to say that it was a NFL football team, right? We weren't allowed to say Dallas Cowboys. But he said to me, you know what I want, Patty, more than anything, what I would love locally to serve my community is to get into schools. That's what he wanted, was to get into schools, but he couldn't get in. There was no way he could get in because like every chiropractor was going to the schools, right? And he just couldn't get in. So when he hired me, he's like, how can I do it? I said, you have to collaborate and give him a reason. So we contacted the schools, and we actually told them that what he was going to do was that at the beginning of the school year, all those kids that play sports had to have sport physicals. And so he actually donated all these sport physicals, and then got some of his Dallas Cowboys to sign t-shirts. He had so many people, they were lined up around the block to get in there. And then the school started putting him up around the games. His name was all around, and those, you know how when you go to the football game, you see him around there. And like every year since then, he's still their number one person just because he did that. So you just have to figure out a way locally and then expand on that.
Oh, awesome. Okay, well, this was amazing. Thank you to our panel. Please put in the notes any offers you have, and please reach out to the panel members that said they would go ahead and give you some time.